Well, hello all. This video is my A to Z of stealth camping. And we will soon go stealth camping, but I thought I'd tell you the preparations and everything I do before a stealth camp. So the first thing I do is I take a tripod and I film everything on my little smartphone. So what I do is I have a little, I think they call it a hot foot mount here. And all I do is I just slap this on and it's ready to film. So that is how I film. I also take with an extra power supply if I'm going to be a long camp with the connecting wire. And yeah, this little smartphone does an amazing job. Now I just want to tell you why I also take a tripod, apart from the fact that it's the only way you get stable, decent video. Is if somebody stops me in the bush, the bundu, the veld, and they ask me what I'm doing, even if it's 2 or 4 in the morning, I can point to my tripod and say, I'm filming. I just got caught out late. Sometimes I'm wandering home early in the morning and some authority or police, no one's ever stopped me, but if they did, I would just tell them the honest truth, which is I'm filming. Then I know a lot of people worry about safety. I've never been worried about safety stealth camping. I like stealth camping alone. I've never stealth camped with somebody else. I think if you're with somebody else, you're going to be talking, making double the noise. And so it's going to be less stealthy. I like to be like a ninja stealth camper. I like to slip in and just before sun set and slip out just before sunrise. I don't like to advertise I'm there. I don't like to make a light. I don't like to make a sound. And I kind of really do enjoy the tranquility. I enjoy looking at the stars. So I don't see the need to take somebody with. And I don't have too many friends who are that interested in stealth camping. So if I had friends interested in camping, I think we'd just go to a regular campsite and enjoy the amenities there. So you could just call that normal camping. Then, although I never fear anything, I always take my trusty panga. And, yeah, I always take a taser. Now, I take it because it's got a little light. And I take it with as protection. This is a slightly bigger taser than the one I normally take with, but I can't find the one that I normally take with. The very next thing that I do is I go into the veld and I look for a place to stealth camp. I always like to check it out beforehand and have a place prepared and ready. And even if I'm on the road, I will prefer to stop before sunset and check out and find a decent, very stealthy campsite. So I think we'll take you to where I'm going to go stealth camping and show you what I look for in a good stealth site. So let's take a typical stealth camp begins. Here is the fence that separates government land from private land. So here's the private land and houses, and look into that distance. There's the beautiful government land. Here is a hole in the fence and I just slip under. So the beautiful thing about government land is that it's government land. The government doesn't care at all about the land. So you'll notice that here is a path. This means that people have traveled here. And here is a path through the forest. Here is a path alongside the forest. When I'm going stealth camping, I want to avoid as many paths as possible. So So now I'm going to find the place which I have prepared. Do you see the density of this forest? I am going to go into this forest to a place that I prepared a while back. So I am off any regular trail. This is absolutely a sort of a place where nobody's likely to go. There's no paths here. And I've been here about 2 or 3 weeks before. And just have a look here. Do you see this patch of bare ground? So I plan to sleep here. So this is where I plan to lay my airbed. And if you look around, you can see that it's completely dense forest. No one is around here at all. There's a little bit of a sky above. Now, the reason why we are going to choose today's Monday, Tuesday night, is if we look at the weather in our area. This line here represents the cloud cover, and this line here represents the chances of rain. The chance of rain at 6 p.m. is 3%, and the cloud cover is also just very minimal, 5%. The next thing to do is to decide what you're going to take with. Now, I never carry what looks like I'm sleeping out around visible. So that means, that's just my principle. This is my biggest haversack, and I'm limited to what I can fit in this haversack. And in fact, this blow-up mattress takes less space than one of these foam mattresses like this. So for the moment, I'm pretty set on using an air mattress, and I don't take a pump. You just take a few minutes to blow it up with your lungs, and it really gives a comfortable night's sleep. It's nice, warm, comfortable. I don't have to take a tent with because it's not going to rain. If it's not going to rain, why am I going to bother with a tent? I love sleeping out, being able to see the stars. So I'm going to take my airbed. I'm going to take a sleeping bag. I might have a very small, light sleeping bag. It's not very warm. I'm going to dress in warm clothes because it is midwinter. Just a moment. I've got these two pillows. I can't sleep without them, so these also blow up. Those are like essentials that have to go with. And then I will take a small little stove. I've got a tiny little penny stove that fits in a cup. So normally you have to decide what you're going to cook first. Here is my little penny stove. It's the smallest thing I've got, and it fits into this cup, and it works on methylated spirit. So I'm going to take this with, and I'm going to make some mushroom soup for supper. So this should work. And having decided on my menu, something simple, I'm not a foodie, I don't care that much about food. So mushroom soup will be delicious. And I then work through the list of ingredients. It needs milk, cheese, corn flour, mushrooms. That's about it. And I must remember to take a little pixie pot and a spoon with. Let me just show you the pixie pot. So I've got my little pixie pot and a spoon, and that's all the utensils and cutlery that I'm planning to take. And I don't bother with toiletries. You know, that soup's not going to corrode my teeth, so I probably won't bother with toothbrush, toothpaste, toilet paper, nothing like that. I won't even bother with taking water. What I will do is take a little flask of tea. Let me show you the flask. So here's a nice little flask. It works well, it holds in the heat, and it comes with a little cup. And so this will be sufficient liquid for one night together with the mushroom soup. So I've got all my catering sorted out. Then I need a torch. So these things are quite nice. It's a little headlamp torch. And the only thing that I would wish is that it had a slightly less bright light, because you know, the one thing that can attract attention to you in the dark would be a light, and then obviously the other thing would be making a noise. So I sometimes wish I had just a one LED, a very faint LED torch, and I could easily make one, and I may just make one and take that with, so that just gives you that little bit of light. Now, I've stealth camped in the forest before. This will be a new moon night. It'll be absolutely pitch dark. I've chosen a spot where there's no werewolves, axe murderers, chainsaw massacre murderers, no zombies. So I'm perfectly happy and comfortable and assured, and I'm all by myself as I try to get as far into the forest as possible, because I feel that if you can slip in like a ninja stealthily, get to your campsite without people detecting you, you stay low to the ground, you don't have a tent, you don't make a noise, there's no light. I mean, what's the chance of anyone finding you? You're absolutely safe. And then, frankly, if anyone wanted to mess with you, you've got a panga and you've got a taser. So honestly, I feel perfectly safe stealth camping alone in a forest. Well, the camp is now set up with a minimum of fuss and bother. I've got my little penny stove. I've got some methylated spirits. I'm going to put that in the stove. Get the stove level. Here are our mushrooms. I have my lighter. I'm going to light the stove. I have a little bit of oil for the pot. The mushrooms go in with some garlic. And they go onto the stove to cook. I think I'm going to put the camera here. Well, it's quite comfortable having our airbed. There are our mushrooms cooking. It's nearly Well, the sun is set and it's getting dark. That's why I've got to film with the torch on. So, I suppose the only thing with an airbed is you've got to keep it away from all sparks. So, as I was saying about things to fear in the forest, I trust that I'm the baddest thing in this forest at the moment. 43 years ago, I was a few years married, and I was watching this vampire film, and they had these beautiful ladies in nighties silhouetted against, you could just see their silhouette. And then as they got closer, as they smiled or opened their mouth, you could see these vampire teeth. Oh, it was terrifying. Well, not long after that, I'd gone to bed, and something disturbed me. And as I looked up, standing in the doorway was a beautiful woman, silhouetted in a nightie with the light behind her. And I got such a fright in my sleeping state that I jumped out of bed, screamed, and wanted to attack her. And she screamed back, and I came fully awake, and it was my wife. And she was super terrified of me jumping out of bed, thinking that, I'd been watching this horror and paranormal stuff. And for a long time after that, my wife never used to like me going to bed first and then in the dark room, and then she would come later because she was scared of a repeat of that. And I think that was the last horror paranormal film, vampire film I watched, because I resolved there and then that it just wasn't worth it. A, you get afraid of paranormal horror, and B, it had that negative effect. It took years to work that out of my system. And the result of that was that now the dark and stealth camping alone in a dark forest just doesn't bother me, because I haven't watched all the movies, I presume, that are made about things that happen in the forest. Blair Witch, I believe, I don't know, Twilight, who knows. I don't follow that genre at all. Let's give this a little stir. So we're going to cook those lovely mushrooms with garlic. Yeah, in Matthew 5, there's a scripture about if your eye offends you, pluck it out. If your right eye offends you, pluck it out. And I thought that watching horror and paranormal teaches people to be afraid, and there are not hundreds, but dozens of times that the Bible commands, fear not. It's actually a command. And it's as much a command as any command in the Bible, thou shalt not kill. Fear not. It's said many, 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 many dozens of times in the Bible. For example, if an angel appeared at the risen Christ at the tomb, the first thing is people feared, and the angel would say, fear not. Or if Christ was walking on the water and they thought he was a ghost, he said, fear not. And throughout the Bible, God would tell the men of old, Joshua, don't fear. So, to watch movies and things like that sort of nurse your fear of the dark. I mean, I literally do know friends and family who are scared of the dark due to watching horror. So, as I say, if your right eye offends you, pluck it out. If your right arm offends you, if something needs to go from your life, just let it go. It may be entertaining, it may be fun, it may be whatever, but it's just not worth it. And just recently I thought another thing that had to go, and that is all the junk food that I've managed to consume and perhaps get away with it for 68 years. Coke and chips and chocolate and condensed milk and marshmallows, and wow, the list just goes on. Just the junk food, all the cakes and confectionaries. And I really just thought to myself, no, No. I'm giving up junk food, the hamburgers, the fast foods. Now, if you were to invite me to your house and you put a whole lot of junk food in front of me, I'd gobble it down and thank you for it. But I just don't buy it or consume it as a regular thing since a month ago. You know, so now I bought Worth a lovely fruit salad. So I live a lot on fruit salads now. Mushroom soup. And this really lovely, hard, heavy seed loaf, whole wheat, low GI bread. I eat a lot of that with just a tiny bit of honey. So I'm not a fanatic about anything, but I really do believe that this is for life. That I'm just, you know, and then I have a protein. I might, for example, have a lovely microwaved smoked haddock or something like that. So I felt, yeah, let's give this body a break. And the thing is, your body just responds to it. I feel so well on this new diet. So I'm sure many people would find if they gave up horror, or they gave up something that maybe is bothering them, I don't know, alcohol, whatever is a problem to you. If it offends you, cut it out. So yeah, I mean, all the years that I drank something like 5 brandies and Coke a night, and I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed every bit of junk food that I've ever consumed, and I'm thankful now that it's no problem to just cut them out completely. And as I say, it was no problem to cut out horror. So I suppose every person's got that thing which you'd be amazed how easy it is to cut it out, and how your life could improve. I mean, another thing that I cut out at one stage in my marriage was arguing, because it takes 2 to argue, and I just refused to argue. Let my wife have the last word. And from that time that I just resolved I wasn't going to argue. We can talk, we can discuss, we can solve the problem, but argue, no. And the moment I did that, all arguing ceased, and basically never argued after that. And yeah, if your eye offends you, or if your right arm offends you, pluck it out. It's just a part of you. You could say your eye and your hand is a part of you. It's a non-essential part of you, and it can go if you feel that it's pulling you down. So how are we going to make this lovely mushroom soup? Look at that cooking. I'm just going to boil these mushrooms till they're more or less cooked. I should have perhaps brought a lid or a plate. I haven't got one. That would have just heated it a bit faster. So I think I've more or less covered. I'm trying to, in this video, almost encyclopedia-like, cover everything, the A to Z of stealth camping. I guess I haven't really covered why I stealth camp. And you know what? It's my A to Z. If you took 10 stealth campers, each of them would have a different take on stealth camping, a different reason, different priorities. Now, I like minimalism. This, you saw, took me literally 5 minutes to set up, 5 minutes to blow up this bed and these pillows, a few minutes to cook my food. It's all simple. I'm not fussing around much. And then you can perhaps hear the birds in the background. It's beautiful. The sky is going to start, the stars are going to come out in a moment. It's just going to be so peaceful. The only thing making a noise in this forest would be me. And I'm the only one who's making a light in this forest. So, you know, noise and light are the 2 things that can give you away. But the why, okay, my personal reason, I always wanted to try out that scripture which said, having food and raiment, be there with content. In other words, be a happy homeless person. Can you be happy and homeless with just your food and raiment? You can see I don't even really need a shelter. I do. If you follow my I built many debris shelters. And, you know, if it was raining tonight, I would definitely need to have built a shelter with plastic to cover me, or I could pitch a tent. But if it's not raining, what's the point? It's just so lovely to be able to see 360. I love it in the forest. So a new moon tonight's going to be pitch dark, but you'll be surprised. Even in the absolute darkest woods, there's light. And you can see enough to see what's going on the ground. And so I really wanted to see a more minimalistic form of stealth camping to test out. Was I happy? What kind of equipment would I need? And over this last year, I think I've perfected. I know exactly what I like, what equipment I need, what I don't need, the minimum stuff to be happy. So basically, I just cook and sleep when I'm out here. And you might say, well, what do you do with your time? I cook and sleep and think. And sometimes I sit and think, and sometimes I just sit. So maybe I'm not even thinking. Maybe I'm just, enjoying the surroundings and just being away from everything. So for me, the why is, what's the least I can be happy with? And give me a fruit salad, I like the bread, and I like a bit of mushroom soup. That's not much. I've been eating that mainly, plus a little protein, an egg or a piece of fish or something. Give me that every day, and I'm totally happy. And then during the day, you leave your stealth camping site. I came just as the sun was setting. I bumped into a few people walking dogs. They asked me, what am I filming? I told them I'm just filming in this golden hour, all the flowers and the place, which is not untrue. And they were quite happy with that explanation. I didn't have a bedroll visible, so they didn't think that I was coming here to sleep. In fact, nobody would ever think you're coming here to sleep. So I think it's time to add. So we're going to add some milk with a little bit of corn starch. You can see most of the cornstarch is still in there. So I should have shaken it. Cornstarch has a nasty habit of settling. So to them it's all about food. To me, I just enjoy all foods. And I don't need much food, and I don't need fancy food to be satisfied. So food is really almost an afterthought. And what's important is to just be able to fit everything into my haversack. So it would have been difficult to fit a tent in. It would have been difficult to fit in a bigger stove. And then we're also going to throw in some cheese. So really, I would say that space is a bit of a limitation, and having this airbed and these blow-up pillows is fantastic. They actually don't take very much space. Now, I used to be a Boy Scout, and in fact, I was a Springbok Scout, which is the same as your Eagle Scout, and we used to camp out a lot, and the way we would entertain ourselves is to make custard. So after we'd had supper and we'd sit around the campfire, we would sit and make custard. We had milk, we had these little sachets of custard powder, and you just mix the milk powder in with the custard powder in with some cold milk, add it to your, we used billy cans then, or they were these enameled pots. But the thing is that cooking milk on a stove, it tends to catch and burn. And frankly, I've made custard a lot, but I make it in the microwave, where I've never ever burnt milk in the microwave. I don't know if you can burn milk in the microwave. It's having a hot spot at the bottom. So I would say be quite important just to keep stirring this on occasion. Yeah, keep stirring it. I would say that you know, as I say, I've covered the fear factor. I've covered being alone. I don't mind being alone. I like being alone. I like being with people a lot. But, you know, you're just here for a night. You're going to be awake for a couple of hours and then you're going to go and sleep. It's not like you're being alone for long. Stealth camping, you can go and meet people in the day. You can go to the beach. You can go and sit on the beach. You can meet people. You go shopping. You can do whatever you like. Or you just you can go to work. You can do your normal activities. Stealth camping is just all about, it's all about the night and getting a good, safe, comfortable, warm, dry night's sleep. So now my cell phone has a bad habit of, after 23 minutes, the sound and the video goes out of sync. So I'm going to stop this video now and reset it. Yeah, I just hope this is not too faded, because sometimes when you've got a torch, the video gets very faded. I will say that normally, that before I bought this air mattress, I sleep quite well. I actually sleep most of the night. I do wake up from my hip being, you know, but I do wake up even at night sleeping on one side, and I toss and turn during the night in normal circumstances. Having this air bed is just wonderfully comfortable, and I think that I'm going to sleep really well. So you know, you're only looking at about 3 hours or so from sunset to when you're going to go to sleep from say sunsets at 7, from 10 onwards. So 7 to 10, you're going to be awake, probably looking at the stars, checking out the constellations. Just so beautiful. It's fascinating, listening to the sounds, experiencing the peace. So I thoroughly enjoy stealth camping. You know, it is a change. It's free. It's beautiful new place. You know, and I don't think I've stealth camped really in the same place twice. And here I cleared it of the grass, the little bit of grass, because I bought an airbed. So I cleared it about a month ago when I found this place, because I don't want anything to puncture my airbed. So I cleared it of sharp rocks, stones, and put a tarpaulin underneath it to protect the airbed. So I presume that it's going to be fine here. And I think with this air mattress, I'm going to sleep so fantastically well. So this little penny stove I made out of just a can, I think it was. It would do better with a lid, but they're quite fantastic. And you know, if you're cooking something like milk, it's better to go slow. And you've got all evening, so what difference does it make? You know, I'm just gonna sit here and eat soup. So fantastic. Then I'm gonna have my fruit salad, have a bit of tea. In fact, that's what I could even have some now while I'm waiting. Just use a small cup, so I have a small cup of tea. And then you can say, yeah, but without TV or video games or news or satellite or cable or whatever it is that's your pleasure, what does a person do with all that time? I suppose I could read a book on my cell phone. I could listen to music. I could even listen to the radio, because my cell phone picks up the radio if I've got a headset. But honestly, I would honestly, I just like thinking. And, I might be thinking of something like, there's a parable in Matthew 20 of a vineyard owner who wants to hire employees, and he hires them at 6 in the morning, then 9, then 12, then 3, and finally at 5 o'clock he hires people, and he promises the ones he hires at 6 in the morning that he'll give them a penny. And then at the end of the day, and the rest he just hires, and he says, I'll pay you what's fair. At the end of the day, he calls them in, and he gives them, starting from the ones he hired 1 hour before he paid them, and he gives them a penny. So now everyone's thinking, wow, if those guys who work for an hour get a penny and I work for 12 hours, I should get 12 pennies. But he gives them each a penny, even though some have worked only 2 hours, some have worked 5 hours, some have worked 7 hours, some have worked all 12 hours, and so on. I guess my maths is out a little bit there. They've worked 12, 6, 9, multiples of 3. And the last guy's worked an hour. Oh, yum. That's thickening up nicely now. Yum, yum, yum. It's got the garlic. I've bought some salt and pepper. I always need some salt and pepper, but I did put some salt in it. But I didn't put the pepper in. So the corn starch is thickening the milk with the garlic and the mushrooms. And like I say, I've eaten this for now a week or a couple of weeks every day and really enjoyed it. Oh yes, and don't forget the cheese. That makes a nice white sauce type of, thickens it up nicely. I suppose now that it's getting thick, it would want to burn more. So now the vineyard owner pays them each a penny, and the guys who were hired 12 at 6 in the morning and that worked 12 hours, say they're quite annoyed that they get paid just the same 1 penny. And the owner says to them, yeah, but didn't you agree to work for a penny? And then he says, don't criticize me if I'm generous. I can do with my own money exactly what I like, and I'm giving you what you agreed to. So I like thinking about these sort of parables and facts in the Bible and whatever. And so you might wonder, what do I spend my time doing? Well, I spend my time thinking about these things. Ooh, this is just thickened so beautifully. Just look how thick and gorgeous that soup is. It's going to be quite hot. Yum, yum, yum. Absolutely delicious. I think we're finished. So then the parable concludes with the owner saying, but many are called and few are chosen. And I asked myself, now what on earth is many are called and few are chosen got to do with this? These first people were complaining about that they born the heat of the day, and yet they get the same wage, a penny, as the guys who got hired at 5 in the afternoon, 1 hour before payday or pay time. And the traditional interpretation of it is that if Christ's calling the world, so all parables are from the point of view of Christ. Christ tells them from his point of view, and we must expect a parable to make basically only one point. Not many points, one, maybe 2 points. So let's look at it from the point of view of Christ. Throughout human history, God is calling everyone, more or less. But only a few people take up the calling. Those are those that are chosen. In this parable, they are the people who actually get to work for the master in the vineyard. So those are God's servants, the faithful people throughout the Bible and the New Testament. And then you could say, a person like Job, who labored all his life, let's say, suffered a lot, could look at the thief on the cross and say, but they both get a penny, and the penny represents salvation and admittance to the kingdom. They both get the same thing, even though Job maybe worked a ton harder than the thief on the cross, who just basically said, remember me, Lord, when you come into your kingdom. And Christ said, verily I say to you, this day you'll be with me in paradise. So Job could say, man, it's unfair that the thief gets the same reward, which is eternal life, becoming an eternal citizen, living forever in the kingdom. And look how much I suffered compared to, well, he only suffered and was a servant of the Lord for a couple of hours. And there is fairness in that, you could see how that fits the analogy that everyone gets a penny. So the penny is eternal life, and all saved people get it. Now, what should be the correct attitude? So obviously, a person is called from birth or from very young and lives all their life serving the Lord, let's say. God is warning them against a bad attitude. Not that, to not think that this is unfair, that people who have a deathbed confession, repentance, should have this. They may say it's unfair that they get the same reward. But here's where I think the saying, many are called but few are chosen, comes in. That no matter when you are called, you should just be so grateful. Few are chosen. You should be so absolutely grateful that whether you came in from being born, like Jeremiah or Moses or David, or there's quite a few people, John the Baptist, Christ, who were born right from the start, Samuel, serving the Lord, or whether you just came in at the end on your deathbed like the thief on the cross. We should just be so thankful that at any stage we were chosen. So that is their attitude. Don't complain about when in your life you were chosen. You still go to eternal life. Be thankful that you were just part of that chosen group who eventually get chosen by the Lord to work in the vineyard. And so that's sort of sorting out that attitude, which, it's to prevent a person thinking like that, or person maybe, and to set that question at rest. People might say, yeah, but it's just so unfair that this guy repented on his deathbed. And look at me, I've had to serve the Lord. My friend, we all get to serve the Lord. We don't have to serve the Lord. We get to. What a privilege. Whether it's from birth or on our deathbed, what a wonderful thing. And don't think that the thief on the cross had it easy not knowing the Lord. I don't think those people who didn't work in the vineyard had necessarily a fantastic life not working. They might have been worried, how am I going to get a wage for the rest of the day? How am I going to bring home food and feed the family? And they were just too thankful that even if it was at 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock that they got called. So that's what I spend my time thinking about. Like, you could say that's meditating, thinking about what was that many are called and few are chosen. How does that fit in with that whole story? And it does fit in. Just be so thankful that you are called anytime. Well, I wish I could tell you how nice the soup is. It is just so delicious. Cream of mushroom soup. Yum. Yum. Mm, mm, mm. I think I'm going to spread that over some time and then just have a look at that lovely fruit salad. You know, I've eaten over the course of my life so many vegetable salads, or you could say Greek salads. And you know, they are quite pleasant. You have your feta and your olives, and you have your lettuce and your onion, your cucumber, your tomatoes. But honestly, I thought the other day, do I really like lettuce, cucumber, tomato, onion, even olives and feta? I like them. It's not bad. But man, I thoroughly enjoy a fruit salad. It's sweet, it's juicy, it's tasty. I thought it's got all the nutrients that a vegetable salad has. I'm probably never going to eat another Greek salad that I will make. I'll eat it at a restaurant or somebody puts it in front of me. But if I've got fruit salad, it's got pineapple, it's got pawpaw, it's got apple, pear, banana, orange, and you can throw in other things, even throw in a can of tinned fruit if you pour off the sugar, just to make it a bit more exciting. There you're getting your 5 fruits, which they say you should have per day. I'd rather have 5 fruits than 5 veggies. From now on, I just want to have my veggies cooked in a stew. Delicious. Unfortunately, I can't have stews here because even though the ground is wet, this is midwinter. I would hate to. And a fire would probably not be seen here because, yeah, it'd be very hard to see a fire here. I still would hate the thought of upsetting people around here who maybe see smoke or something and call the authorities. This little meth stove burns so it's the most stealthy stove you can get. It's a fairly slow stove, but it will also, I'm sure, boil water. In fact, it will boil water eventually. But it's the soup with the milk didn't get burnt at all. So my worrying about heating up milk on a flame, as I say, I haven't done that for decades. But I'm glad to see it work so well. Well, gonna save some for later. Yum yum. Now, that's got a strong smell of meth. That wasn't very clever. So we're going to have our fruit salad in this cup. So these are my current favorite foods, and as I say, my body just loves it. It's such a delicious fruit salad. My only regret about sleeping in a forest is you can't see much of the sky. I love studying the stars. Now, I have found another wonderful stealth site in the middle of a forest, but in a clearing. It looks like a UFO's landed. It's a clearing, a huge clearing in the forest, but it's all overgrown with thick with grass. And from that, on this new moon night, wow, I'd be able to see the stars. But here was the thing. It's thick with grass. And things creeping grass like snakes. So I thought, if I do go there, I may take a tent so I can zip it up at night. No snakes would come in, and then I can just lie in the grass on my airbed and just stare up at the stars until I go to sleep. But maybe go to sleep in the tent. Maybe do that some clear night. Like I say, I checked the weather. It was exactly what the weather forecasted. No rain, beautiful. This is the middle of winter, and the temperature was during the day about 22 or so, and I think it's only going to get down to about 15 in the night. It's actually a beautiful evening. So yeah, we've had our 2 courses. I'm going to keep this for the morning or for a midnight snack. This I have to finish. It's going to get cold. I don't feel like heating it up again. I have to finish that before. So I never go anywhere where I don't feel totally safe. Like I've been dying to stealth camp on this popular busy beach near us. But I think that's going to be dangerous because there's houses that overlook the beach that could see me. So I probably will do a stealth camp on the beach, but it won't be a busy beach. It won't be a popular tourist beach. I'd say for every stealth site I find, I reject at least 20. And I reject them on things like there are too many paths close to it. There's litter from homeless people. Maybe there's a very good neighborhood watch that you don't want. If it's close to very rich houses, they tend to have an active neighborhood watch and security. So I don't get anywhere where I don't feel absolutely happy and comfortable with going. And say I'm on a motorbike and I stop at night, I prefer to stop at a place like a wooded forest or something, check it out, make sure you got less time when you on the move to know whether this is government land, whether there's a farmer or someone who's very fussy about his land, doesn't want anybody on it. Luckily I don't care. Only thing is that I have this torchlight on from my camera, and that might attract attention and me talking. But hey, I won't talk forever. And yeah. And I think that's what you have to do. So I've got my taser, I've got my panga, or machete as they call it. On government land, there's some beautiful stars and constellations above me. When I switch off this camera light, I'm going to absolutely enjoy seeing these stars. It's now completely pitch black, with my eyes not accommodated to the light. I can't see at all into this forest. It's just pitch black all the way around. But I'm sure that when my eyes become acclimated to the darkness, I'll be able to see something. Here's my taser with it still. It's got its own little torch. And then I have a head lamp, one that goes on one's head. So, yeah, the main thing is you don't want to have a light, a very bright light waving around, especially towards the people. Yeah, you can see obviously clearly with that, and then does that. But you'd have to be, I would say, you'd be better off with just a tiny, and I will make one, a tiny little dull 1 LED torch that you can just see the things that you're looking for in your haversack, because you're always looking for something when you stealth camping. So yeah, I haven't got much. There's not much I could say that I have to look for. Basically, when I decide to go to sleep, but I just hope that this mattress is going to stay pumped up. It's going to be, frankly, as simple as this. I'm going to just simply go to sleep. So there's my got a jacket and a sleeping bag. Yeah. So I'm going to say good night. These cushions tend to slide around a little bit, but I'm going to say good night. I hope this was a fairly comprehensive A to Z of stealth camping, A to Z. I've discussed why I do it, to see if you could live with just the simple, small, little pleasures, just a few things. I have a very minimalist life policy. I do believe in minimalism, even though I may be not that minimalistic by anyone's standards. And I just want to see how well a person can do with just what you can take with on a stealth camp. Can you be happy with that? Could it be a sustainable lifestyle? If yes, then wonderful, then you've got nothing to fear. If you're homeless, jobless, can you cope with the loneliness, not having anybody with you? Can you cope with the boredom and the lack of things to do to stimulate you? We live in a very fast-paced world. So those are sort of the questions that I wanted to find out. And then obviously, what do you need to stealth camp? And I like minimalistic. You saw how little time it took to just, I had prepared this before. I had scraped this ground with a machete to get rid of the grass, to smooth it out, get rid of any thorns and sharp rocks, because I don't want my airbed punctured. So I had done that before when I reconnoitered the place. And yeah, to see whether I've built shelters. I've proved that I can stay waterproof and dry and happy, and I know how to build completely rainproof shelters. I like that A-frame thing with a DPC plastic. I've got videos on that, and then if you want to hide it, you just cover it with branches. Yay! And then it's a hidden stealth shelter, completely rainproof. Or you could have a tent. I've done that and cover it with branches. So all of these are some of the things that I've experimented with. I feel quite happy with my skills as far as stealth camping. And yeah, every person's got their own reason for stealth camping and their own approach to it, their own philosophy, their own need for, I must take more, I must take less. But everything that I have here, I've managed to fit in one haversack, which is part of my philosophy, that you don't look like you are going to be sleeping in the sticks. So people, if they saw you carrying a bedroll, they'd know that you're going to camp somewhere. So I would have been found out by that person that I talked to, but now they just thought that I'm photographing, which I am. So I think I've covered everything: the safety, the loan, the philosophy, how to do it. Check my videos, how to build a shelter, how to build a waterproof shelter. And I'll tell you something, you learn something from every single stealth camp. I'm sure I'm going to learn something. This is only the second time on this airbed, and I'm sure I'm going to learn something. I'm probably learnt that the penny stove cooks a beautiful pot of mushroom soup. And I'm sure there's plenty of things I'm going to learn during the course of the night. So you learn something every time. This is how, if you get yourself out of your normal routine, you're going to learn something new from stealth camping. I haven't been on one stealth camp where I haven't learned something I'm very grateful to have learned. So we'll see what we learn tonight. So, see you.